Hello. There seems to be quite a few fake SunnySky motors out there. I first heard about this in some online forums, probably RC groups I think, a while ago. But yesterday I had one delivered to me from Banggood. So I thought I'd make a little video comparing it to the real one, showing all the differences that I could find at least, just in case somebody may be interested in knowing what all the fuss is about. And there is actually quite a bit of information out there about this already, like I say, on RC groups mostly. But I'm in a bit of a ranting mood, so I thought I'd make a video myself anyway. And I'll also direct the Banggood staff to this video, as sometimes they ask for photos or videos of what the problem is in the product when you're asking for a refund. So that's what this video is going to be. Now this is a real SunnySky motor box. So I'll just say, where should we start? Well, last year I bought 4 of these motors. So these are the X2204 motors, very nice motors. And I bought 4 of these last year, and they're really, really good. Strong, smooth, nice finish and build quality, no complaints at all really. Except for one problem I have was that they're all clockwise motors, so 2 of the props tend to come off quite easily because the spinner just comes undone because it's spinning the wrong way, you know. So when SunnySky started making the counterclockwise motors this year, I thought I would replace just the 2 of them and stop that problem from happening again. So I jumped onto Banggood, as I did last year, and I went like this, counterclockwise, 2, and bought those. So I'm buying 2 of the exact same item, right? However, so this is the real box from that purchase. Sorry, not from that purchase, but last year's purchase when I got the 4 altogether, 4 real ones, first time. But unfortunately, when I opened my package yesterday, this is what I saw. Interesting. So right away you can see these are not the same item. And this is another reason I wanted to make this video rather than just letting this slide, because I know Banggood does sell a lot of products and you can't expect their packing staff to know all the little details about all this stuff that all the thousands of nerds on RC groups know about. But you can expect them to see that this is not the same thing. So yeah, first off you can see the box is quite different. This is... let me just make this clear again. This is the one that I got last year, which I'm calling the real one, because I'm pretty sure it is real. They're very nice. This is what seems to be the fake. It's all labelled up like SunnySky, but different label kind of fonts and design and everything. It's a very big box for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Maybe they put the 2212s in there as well. Now over here is the real one that I got. So they gave me 1 fake and 1 real one, but for some reason they didn't give me the real one in a box like this with the cross plate and some screws that it came with last time. They just gave it to me, just the motor and the spinner, and that's it, in a bag. A little bit strange, but that's okay. I don't really need the cross plate or the screws anyway, so I'm okay with this, although it's strange that they didn't send it the same way as they did last time. So that's fine. But what have we got in here? Mostly empty box, but we have crossplate, spinner, and the motor. So, getting down to what are the differences between these 2 motors, well, it's quite a lot actually. And the more I kept looking, the more differences I kept finding. Obviously the first one is the difference in logo. And let me just switch this background here, because I think this desk interferes with the autofocus quite a bit. Okay, so I'll try and keep the real one on the left and the fake one on the right as much as possible. Let's just have a look at the logo, and you'll have to bear with me with the autofocus. It's a bit slow sometimes, but it usually does work eventually. So you can see that's the text on the real one. It's kind of a thin, tall text, at least at the bottom. And the logo that we have on the fake is a little bit different. Let's see if we can get these together. So this is just superficial, so I'm not too fussed about this, but there are plenty more differences between these motors that are not superficial. But you can see right away the logo is a little bit different there. Looks like the Y is kind of raising up at the end, almost as if the screen print or whatever was lifted a little bit. Okay. Oh, one thing I was going to mention before I did this actually was the weight of the motors too, so let's check that. Okay, we have the real motor is 21 grams and the fake is 22 grams. So this scale is not very accurate, but you can see that the fake is a little bit heavier. Right. So on the fake, I noticed that the edges of the cutout here, oops, let me just, okay. The edges of the cutouts here are, it kind of feels like a cheese grater because the edges are very, very sharp, and it feels like if you were to like rub it on your hand or your arm or something, you'd probably draw blood. Whereas on the real one, they're quite nice and smooth, a little bit sharp feeling still, but a lot smoother. The sizes of these cutouts are different too. Let's see if we can get these together in the best way to show it. So the little semicircular, the sizes of the cutouts there are different, and you can see when I put the part where the cutout joins the edge of the bell, that's actually fatter as well. The raised part of the motor here, so this little lip that's there, is wider on the real motor than it is on the fake. It's probably a little bit tricky to see, but you can see that's a little bit smaller on the fake on the right hand side. The holes here where you can see there's a hole on each side where the bell is fixed to the shaft. Well, this is harder than I thought to get it to focus. But you can see there's a small Allen key bolt in there, grub screw, whatever. There's one on each side, and that hole and the screw and the size of the Allen key is a little bit larger than it is on the fake. So you won't be able to tell that in the video very well, but the one over here is a little bit smaller. And it's also recessed. So if I turn this up like that, you can see where the hole for that Allen key is kind of cut into the main part of the bell, and it's recessed. Whereas on the real one, where that hole is not, oops, not recessed if you look at it from above. Oh, it is a tiny bit, but not so much. So we can also see that the edge of the bell is thicker, so the outer wall of the there we go. So on the right hand side, the outer wall is a little bit thicker, and that means that the magnets there are actually closer to the center, and the length of the stator where the windings are is shorter, so there'll be less torque from that. So at least I think there'll be less torque from that. And we can also see, not with this black background, but if I put a bit of paper on here, we can see that there is also, this is the real motor here. If I turn this so that we see like this, we can see quite a bit of space at the top and the bottom, and it's nice and clear, so above the windings at the top of the bell, there's quite a bit of empty space there, so there's a fair bit of room for air to move around inside there. Now if we hold the fake motor in the same way, we can see when we focus, yep, like that. Now with this one, I am actually holding it the same way, but you can see that it's only at the top there that there's a decent amount of clear space, and at the bottom for some reason there's not much clear space. And if we look at that a little bit closer from this angle, we'll see why. There's some kind of blue stuff in there. Quite a bit of it actually. But it's only on that side, and it's not on the other side, so you can imagine what that little bit of weight is going to do at 20,000 RPM, right? Difference of weight on one side to the other. As far as the windings themselves go, not only are the stators shorter on the fake, on the right hand side, it appears that the, it doesn't appear like it in the video probably, but when you look at this with the naked eye, you can sort of see that the wires that are used for the windings are a tiny bit thicker in the real one on the left. Not only that, but there's a lot of differences when you look for them. Now as I spin this around, look at how much of the white paper we can see through the motor. Not much, right? So there's just a little bit at the top there we can see at the edge, and a little bit there we can see as well. So this is the real motor, and you can see it's mostly just packed with copper windings. Now when we do the same thing with the fake motor, you can see that there's a lot of empty space in there where the winding is not nearly as packed as it was in the real one. Alright, on the bottom, let's look at the bottom of the real motor. We can see when it focuses there is, the most obvious thing is that there is a plastic bushing sort of a thing under the C-clip. And it may not show up too well here, but the edges of the screw holes have been chamfered so they're nice and smooth, and also the holes, the larger holes here are smoother edge too, so they don't have that cheese grater effect, and that makes it easier to get the screws in there when you're trying to line things up. On the fake one, we can see that, well, I can see anyway, never really sure how this is going to show up in the video, but it has the cheese grater effect again, so the edges, you can see it quite well there in the bottom, the large hole at the bottom. You can see the edge is nice and sharp. You could probably cut yourself on that if you wanted to. And also there's no chamfered edges around the holes, so it's harder to get a screw in there when you're trying to line things up. Oh, and of course there's no plastic bushing around the shaft. It's metal, some kind of a metal washer. That's about all we can see, I think, but if you were to hold these and do this, you would also notice that the fake motor has quite a strong stepping feeling, like it won't stay in some positions. It's always going to click around to another position, and that effect is quite pronounced in the fake motor here, whereas in the real motor it's nice and smooth. It still has a little bit of clicking effect, but not nearly as noticeable. Feels much smoother. Alright, let's have a look at the spinners. Just a little bit of difference here, but I thought since I'm going on and on, I might as well look at every little change I'd noticed. Okay, this is probably really hard to see, but the edges of the hole there are chamfered, so once again when you're trying to put a little, I actually use a drill bit to tighten up these spinners, but whatever you're trying to put into that hole to tighten it up will be a lot easier to put in there, because the edge is chamfered, so it guides the screwdriver or whatever it is in there a lot better. Geez, can't see that, can we? There we go. And on the fake one, it's, once again, we have the cheese grater type situation where there's no chamfering on the edge. It's just a straight, hard... Oh, I got this, I got this backwards. This is the real one, I'm sorry. So there's a lot more chamfering on that edge there. Anyway, can't see it, can we? Alright, and the base plates, there's no big problems with the base plates really, but they are noticeably different, so I'll just mention. This is the real one. It is perfectly flat all the way across, right up to the edges, and it has kind of a matte finish. And I may just be imagining it, but it feels like it's a little bit lighter than the fake one. And this is the fake one here. It's not a matte finish, it's really, really shiny. Apart from that, it seems okay, but I just thought I'd mention it's a little bit different. Like the edges of it here sort of seem to round down a little bit, so it doesn't sit perfectly flat on whatever you place it on. Alright, so I'm going to put these onto... I'm going to spin them up a little bit and see if we can notice any differences. And I did this before because I saw a video where somebody else tried this, and they had an iPhone app or something to put onto the thing that was holding the motors and measure the vibrations so you could see the accelerometer readings. And I thought, well, that's a good idea, because I can't really show you how it vibrates any other way than by showing you something visual like that, something to look at. But then when I put them on my test platform and span them, I decided not to do that, because you don't need to look at it to see, or to hear rather, how badly out of balance the fake motor is. So what I'll do is I'll just spin them up and let you listen to it, and you can hear for yourself. Okay, I've stuck the real motor on to start with onto this little mount here. This is the beginnings of my next amazing quadcopter. It's just sitting here loose on the desk because I wanted it to use the desk as a sounding board to give a little bit more sound so you can hear clearly what it sounds like. And it's just hooked up to a regular ESC with a servo tester. And I'm also going to try an automated control of this as well, so that we can get exactly the same inputs to the motor as with the real one and the fake one. But just for now, just to spin this up a little bit. It sounds fairly smooth. And it sounds fairly smooth at all ranges of speed. And I did that just to demonstrate, because when I tried with the fake one, there were certain ranges of speed where it would have a horrible sort of a undulating sound. So I just wanted to compare with that. And I'll put these two sounds side by side a little bit later in the video so that you can compare them directly. So to check, I also wanted to check how quickly it changes in speed. But it's kind of hard to do that when I'm manually turning the dial myself. So to do this automated, I made a little Arduino program like this, and all it does is it creates a servo, and then we attach that servo to a pin, and then to start off we write 0, so it's throttle down. And then I'm just going to do one run at the beginning where I start and I gradually increase the throttle to see at what point it starts to spin, because I wanted to check that as well to see if it was different between the real and the fake motors. So let me just switch this over. There's signal there, and ground. Right, so the point of this, I made a little set speed function. All that does is set the speed in the ESC, and then it prints out what that speed is, so we can see what the value that it's giving to the ESC is. So if I just hang on, let me just upload this just to make sure I've got it current. So this value here, it's a bit strange. So it started spinning at about 40. I think, you know what I just did? Damn it. Okay, forget about that one. I think I accidentally calibrated the ESC just now by mistake. So let's I think we can do this to calibrate them. Let's try this for 4 and then write 90. Let's try that. Okay, so I just calibrated them properly this time. Now get rid of that. Right, let's try this again. So it started spinning at 4, right? If I reset this to just illustrate again, watch when it gets to 4. So 4 is the value that will start it spinning. So now that we've figured that out, I'll just get rid of this loop. And then the rest of the... Oh, it's a bit noisy, isn't it? So this time we're just going to send it a sequence of it's just sending it a sequence of 12 values, and the point that I'm trying to check with this is how quickly it switches from one speed to another. I haven't actually tried this with the fake motor, but I would assume that the fake motor would be a little bit slower to react. So once again, I'll put these two noises side by side in the video. I'll edit them together so that you can compare what the sound is like with exactly the same input. Now I'll switch everything over with the fake motor so we can do the same thing. Okay, now I've switched over to the fake motor, and while I was switching over I noticed another thing that I'd missed before that's different about these two motors. If you'll notice here, I've connected the wires between the ESC and the motor up so they're kind of in a straight line, so the wires are not crossing over or anything. And that's the same way that I connected them up just before. But wouldn't you know it, the motor spins the other way. So that's another difference. Not a big deal, but I just thought I'd mention it since I noticed it. So anyway, now let's listen to this. So hopefully it should be clear that it's running much rougher, especially at high RPM. There's a really rough kind of vibration coming from it. So yeah, it's not very good, is it? Alright, let's see how it goes with this automated control thing. Okay, so it spins up at 4 still. So that much is the same. Ugh, doesn't that sound awful? Alright, let's do the thing where we switch between those 12 values. And okay. Well, I think we can see that there is a substantial difference in the vibration between these two motors. So I'm going to try and get this one refunded or get them to send me a replacement. So I still like Banggood. I'll give them a break, I think, on this one. But I would be hesitant to buy any SunnySky motors from them in the future, because I hear this has been happening with the 2212s quite often as well. Basically, the ones that are most popular seem to be the ones that they're trying to make fakes of, understandably. So yeah, if you're really in a hurry to get stuff, you might want to get them from somewhere else. If you're not in a hurry and you can settle for a bit of messing about and perhaps being sent a fake one and having to ask for a refund and waiting for postage and shipping and wasting time like that, then if you still want a cheap motor, you can try it from Banggood. But if you're really in a hurry, I would get it from somewhere else that's going to ship you the right one the first time. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on this issue. Thanks for watching. See you later.